Shalom, family. Grace, mercy, and peace be unto you. From Yahuwah, our Father, and Yahusha. He is the Messiah, the one that carries the burden of Yah, his voice, our high priest, soon coming King. Hear, O Yeshua, Yahuwah, who is our mighty one. He is one. There is no other mighty one in existence than Yahuwah, and Yahusha is his voice. This is Brother Dawood coming to you again to bring you the last atonement before the gathering. This is part 4. Baptism and the stranger. Who is the stranger? Here they are. All of the nations of the earth. You know, I found it extraordinary that the nations on the earth starts out. Number 1 is the white man. He has all of the lower numbers. Everyone else comes after him. Then look at who's on the bottom. All the time. On the very bottom. Melanated people. Let's begin. Wayakara. You would say Leviticus chapter 16, 23 to 24. 23. And Aharon shall come into the tabernacle of the congregation, and shall put off the linen garments, which he put on when he went into the holy place, and shall leave them there. 24. And he shall wash his flesh with water in the holy place. Here's the origin of baptism. And put on his garments, and come forth, and offer his burnt offering, and the burnt offering of the people, and make an atonement for himself and for the people. Note, he had to take off those filthy garments. They were full of bacteria. Then he had to wash himself in the holy place. Then come out, put his garments on. Then make an atonement for himself and for the people. He could not do it before he ritually cleansed himself of the bacteria of the children of Yeshua. 25. And the fat of the sin offering shall he burn upon the altar. 26. And he that let go the goat for the azazel goat shall wash his clothes, and bathe his flesh in water, and afterward come into the camp. He's filthy. He came in contact with the goat with all of the sin on it. He has to ritually cleanse himself. The origin of baptism. 27. And the bullock for the sin offering, and the goat for the sin offering, whose blood was brought to make an atonement in the holy place, shall one of them carry forth without the camp, and they shall burn in the fire their skins, their flesh, and their dung. This has to be done outside of the camp. 28. And the one that burnt it shall wash his clothes, and bathe his flesh in water, and afterwards he can come into the camp. He came in contact with all of the items that are used for the rites. He became unclean. He had to wash himself in water. 29. And this shall be a statute forever unto you. Forever? How long is forever? Till heaven and earth pass away. Has heaven and earth passed away? If it hasn't, you still have to keep this statute. Statute? What is a statute? It's the instructions on how to carry out any specific law, let's look at the instructions. That in the seventh month. How do you find the seventh month in this matrix that they have created for us? They have obscured time. The only way is the path of years. On the 10th day of the month, you shall afflict your souls. Afflict your souls? Turn down your plate. Fast. You'll be uncomfortable on that day. Your stomach will make noises. And do no work at all. Can't go to work. Stay home. Be still. Quiet. Pray. Whether it be one of your own country, if it's our brother or our sister, or a stranger that sojourns amongst you. A stranger? One that is not of the seed? Who is the stranger? Let us start in chronological order. First, the Africans, mainly Egypt. After Yahusep died, there arose a Pharaoh that knew not Yahusep, and he took us captive and treated us evil for maybe 142 to 80 years before the Exodus. We built their cities. Then came the Assyrians. They laid siege to our cities in the Promised Land. They hung us from stakes. They took us back to their lands. We built their cities. Then came the Babylonians. They joined with the Edomites. The Edomites told them, you see that temple? It is the center of their power. They told them, raise it, burn it to the ground. Well, they made the temple desolate. They took us back to their lands. We built their cities. What, 70 years? Then came a people far more cruel than anyone that we had ever seen before. They came from the north. They came down to the south. They called this guy Alexander the Great. What made him so great? That he came down to where the children of Adam lived, and he raped, pillaged, and destroyed. After he died, they split all of the lands between 5 generals. In the Promised Land, the Seleucid Empire took control. Down through the centuries came one called Antiochus Epiphanes. He came down to the south, to where the temple was. He killed the last of the Zadok priesthood. Then he went in the temple. He caused the sacrifices to cease. He sacrificed a pig on Yah's altar to Zeus. He stole the gold, the silver, and more importantly, all of the scrolls. Then he said, you Negroes, if I catch you reading, I'm going to kill every last one of you. If I catch you trying to make a sacrifice, I'm going to kill every last one of you. If I catch you looking up, counting to the new moon or the feast days, I will kill every last one of you. They made us unclean in every way. Then came another group from the north, the Romans. We didn't know that there could be a people even more cruel than the Greeks, but they came in. They caused the sacrifice to cease. Then they built a phony temple under their puppet king, Herod the Great. They were cruel to Yeshua. Listen how cruel they were. They murdered the Messiah. Then they took the books. They made it their own. They created a religion out of our history book, our law book, our prophetic book. And they made it their own. And they called themselves spiritual Israel. There's no such thing in this book. Then came their doctrines, and it's called the doctrine of white supremacy. 2,300 years they have wreaked havoc over the earth. Do you know what it's called? The time of the Gentiles. Their time is up. Now this is the time of enlightenment. Knowledge is greatly increased, and all the things that was hidden is being revealed. The Gentiles are waking up too. They're finding out that everything that they were taught in Christianity is nothing but a lie. So they have decided that they want to sojourn with the children of Yeshua, but they have the wrong heart. They have the wrong mind. You cannot come to this with white supremacist thought process. You have to come to this with the mindset of being a servant. Now, I'm going to show you exactly what the Father will give to you and what He requires of you to make it in. You first have to do everything here that we do. Yashayahu, chapter 56, 6 to 8. 6. Also the sons of the stranger. The sons of the stranger? Well, it's speaking of the sons of those who afflicted us, that joined themselves to Yahuwah. You don't have a covenant. You don't have a contract, but you want to be with Him, to serve Him, to love the name of Yahuwah, to be His servants. Is that your aspiration? Here's your instructions. Everyone that keeps the Shabbat is not on Pope Gregory's calendar. It is not on the oppressor's calendar. If you keep a Shabbat on Saturday on Pope Gregory's calendar or Sunday on Pope Gregory's calendar, you have polluted his days. He won't acknowledge you. His Shabbat is in the sky for the whole world to see. It is the lunar Shabbat. There's only one Shabbat that he created. Everything else was created by the oppressor. And take hold of my covenant. That means apply all of the principles of the law to yourself. You cannot sojourn with us unless you keep the law. 7. Indeed, those who apply those principles, will I bring to my holy mountain and make them joyful in my house of prayer. Their burnt offerings and their sacrifices shall be accepted upon my altar. Why would he accept their burnt offerings and sacrifices? If they're going to sojourn with us, they have to be atoned for also. There can be no filthiness in the land. For my house shall be called a house of prayer for all people. 8. Adanya, the owner, who is Yahuwah, which gathers the outcasts of Yesharel, said this: Yet will I gather others to him. Hmm. Who is him? Him is a pronoun. It describes a person, place, or thing. Him is Yesharel, our patriarch, Jacob. He's going to gather others to Jacob, to Yesharel, to us. You cannot make it in without us. We hold the covenant. Besides those that are gathered unto him. When we come into the land, there's people who are waiting for us. They're going to celebrate. They're going to lose their minds. They're going to turn their children over to us. Take them, please. They're going to bow down. They'll kiss our feet. They'll worship us. Why? Because our arrival heralds in the end of the tyranny of the white man. They will do everything for us. They will build our houses. They will till our fields. They will take care of our animals. They will be perfect servants. Is it the same for you? Is your mindset to come into the kingdom, to sojourn with us and be our servant? If not, you have the wrong heart. If you did not suffer the curse, you cannot receive the purse. The children of Yesharel had to go through much suffering. We had to be tried as gold is tried. We had to be purged of our transgressions of the law. We had to learn that we were nothing without our master. Now all of a sudden comes the stranger who thinks that he will be either equal to or above us. It's not going to happen. You will be a servant for the children of Yesharel. The only way that you can serve he who is seated upon the throne, the only way that you can serve Yahusha is to serve us. How do you serve Yah, whom you have never seen, and not serve his representatives on earth, whom you see every day? Continue to part 5. Shalom.